Now, many people when they first start out in Hypixel Skyblock are very taken aback by how complicated this entire game is. And I'm here to tell you how you can easily progress starting from a new account or as a new player in pretty much the most carefree and safest way possible. And I'm just going to simplify a ton of these things for you. So, you're just going to start off as you would normally, bridging over, getting to the main hub, which is where I am now. And then afterwards, you're going to want to head over to this fishing merchant. After that, you buy a fishing rod using essentially starter money that you can get by breaking this nether wart here and selling it to one of the NPCs. It's pretty much the same price for all of them. And then afterwards, you can head over here with that newly acquired fishing rod and go over to the fisherman NPC. All you have to do is swim out a little bit on this dock. It's not too tough. But yeah, once you reach him, who is located right here, the fisherman, he will give you a quest to essentially fish up some clay in this pond, and once you do that, he will give you a prismarine rod. Once you get the prismarine rod, which fishes up fish a lot faster than that other rod that you got for about 100 coins at the fishing person, you can go over to this bridge or wherever you'd like to, preferably over there in the fairy pond where there's a chance to get up the fairy armor set, which is a pretty good early game armor set because it gives you health for every fairy cell you find, plus some other stuff. So yeah, anyway, you just fish until you gain enough in your raw fish collection progress to create a fish minion. What you do with that fish minion, who you get after collecting, let's see, that's about about 50 raw fish, is you just use that, and then you place it at your private island, surround it with some water buckets that you can actually find in your private island. I already looted mine, and my island's a lot more renovated than most people's. But yeah, you just head down over here, and then there's a chest in which you can find that water bucket. Or you can just empty that out and get more water in the main hub. Afterwards, you can place the fishing minion like so. It doesn't need to be on sponge or anything, just surrounded by the water. And then he will start producing a decent amount of fish. Now, I have mine upgraded quite a bit, and I recommend you do the same as soon as possible. But essentially, once you finish getting all of that and just wait for a little bit, you will have enough in your collection to create the angler armor set, which is a pretty nice armor set because it gives you plus 1% sea creature chance and and a decent amount of defense as well. It also reduces the amount of damage you take from sea creatures, which you can get by fishing up randomly. Well, not exactly randomly since there's a chance modifier, but yes, it's essentially just RNG. But yeah, once you do that, there's also a, you can get a pretty good amount of loot and stuff from them. Also, there's another full set bonus that's gaining 10 hearts per fishing level, which is pretty nice if you just keep up on this fishing thing, which is essential for this technique and progression. Now, after you set up that minion, and just don't mind this, that happens on my computer, but once you set up that minion, you can essentially just wait a little bit, fish more manually, and then you will eventually get enough progression in a different fishing collection, which I believe is the raw salmon collection, to unlock the speedster rod. Now, I only figured out this strategy a while ago, so I haven't exactly done it yet. Plus, I've only started doing this morning, but I'm sure you'll get there in less than about a day, or something like that. As long as you just keep fishing manually, it will eventually go there. Now, the speedster rod is a pretty great fishing rod that, once again, is pretty cheap to make. It takes about a sack and a half of raw salmon and 2 string. And then from that you get plus 30 damage, plus 15 strength, and increases your fishing speed by 30%. Not to mention it's a pretty good weapon in PvE combat. So that's great for whether you're passing the time mining in the gold mines over there, or like the deep caverns, I'm not sure what they're called again. But yeah, essentially, after you do all of that, it's pretty nice because, it makes you go a lot faster and deal some good damage. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is essentially try to get as many of those fishing minions as you can and upgrade them. Because as you yeah, the moment you buy fishing minions, you don't have to upgrade them that much because they already come with about 10 different slots for different things, and they produce different materials, such as raw fish, puffer fish, grass salmon, clownfish, prismarine crystals, prismarine shards, and I don't have any in here just yet, but they also produce sponge, which is pretty great because you can use that to craft a late game armor set if you have a good amount of fishing minions. Anyway, after you essentially make all of that automated and get as many as you can, you are going to want to essentially just take a little bit of time off and head over here to the coal mines. Complete the one quest for the blacksmith. He will essentially give you some stuff. You can reforge. I'm not sure if you can reforge fishing rods, but I'll check that out later. Anyway, afterwards, you just head over here and take a trip to the gold mines where you level up your mining, then go over to the deep caverns. Now, the deep caverns have enemies, as I mentioned before. Oh yeah, one thing, before we get there, this NPC named Rusty will add the telekinesis enchantment for only 100 coins, which is great on your fishing rod because you won't have to pick all that stuff up as it comes flying towards you, even though that's really not a big problem with fishing rods. So yeah, I recommend you make that investment. So after you mine for a bit and then get over to here, you will I recommend that you ignore most of the starting stuff, and first of all, you're going to want to talk to this NPC over here who controls the elevator. Yeah, it's this guy, the lift operator, and he will take you to various locations if you've unlocked them yet, and by unlocking them, all you have to do is just explore this place. So yeah, as you can see, it just keeps on going down, and it keeps going down for a pretty long time. And if you already have the salmon armor set or the angler armor set, you probably won't need the lapis armor that drops from these enemies, the lapis zombies. So you don't really have to bother with that stuff. Then, once you just keep on going down here, I'm not going to do all that because it would take quite a while, you can make it to the Obsidian Sanctuary, where there are these powerful enemies called miner zombies. Now, with your speedster rod, you should be able to deal a pretty good amount of damage. I'm using a winter rod right now, which is a little bit better than that, and with its upgrades, it deals about 270 damage a hit, which is nice, because it also is a melee weapon that works range. So, anyway, after you do all of that, you can, essentially talk to this person, and, yeah, well, before you do that, you're going to want to mine a ton of these diamonds. Now, the reason you made it to the Obsidian Sanctuary and not the, layer above, which is a little bit safer, but you can't get as many diamonds, because here, instead of just normal diamond ore veins, which seems to be all I'm seeing at the moment, you can find entire diamond blocks in the walls, which is a lot nicer than the other ones, because it's a block of diamonds. So that's, yeah, 9 for 1, which is pretty darn nice. After you do that, and essentially bind on this and one other floor, and get a decent amount of experience in, you should be able to essentially get 10 enchanted ores. This will take a while. But then you can talk to this person named Riss, and he will, he will allow you to go into the Dwarven Mines, which is where you're going to use these fishing rods. Now, the Dwarven Mines are a pretty big place that's for pretty mid-game players, but you can get a lot of good stuff here. Like, for example, you can just use a normal diamond pickaxe and mine all this mithril, which sells for a pretty decent amount if you mine it in bulk. You can also upgrade your different tools and get a ton of different things, but the main reason we're coming here is for something that takes a while and is pretty hard to perfect, but it is appreciated in the long run, and will get you quite a lot of money. So, anyway, down here is a place called the Mist. Now, this has enemies known as ghosts, which are a little hard to see up here, but they essentially have 1,000,000 health each. Now, the reason you're going to want this fishing rod is, well, you can stand in essentially anywhere you want, and use your rod to pull up these ghosts. See, it gives me a warning. You see these guys here, if I say go up here, I'm out of mana. This is bad. Anyway, let's just keep on doing the commentary. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. They deal a lot of damage, so try to keep your distance from them. Anyway, yeah, essentially, while you get over there and stay pretty elevated, and I have not perfected this technique, but you can use the fishing rod to pull them up, and after a couple of tries, you should actually be able to kill them. And if you do have telekinesis on it, their drops will go directly into your inventory. Now, they drop a ton of useful things. If you're pretty lucky, you can even get something called, I forget what it is. It's like, sorrow? I'm not sure, but it's something like that, and that sells for a really big amount if you can put that up on the auction house. And that's a really easy way to get money. And what you're going to use that money for is either to buy the winter rod in the Jerry's workshop event, which is essentially the like Christmas/New Year's event. In Hypixel Skyblock, you can just buy it at a shop. It's not currently in season, so I can't show you. But yeah, you can upgrade your fishing rod and have it deal a lot more damage. So yeah, that's plus 50 damage, plus 50 strength, and plus 5% sea creature chance. Plus there's an additional bonus that is plus 5% sea creature chance while on the winter island. Not to mention it increases your fishing speed by 50%, so you can get even more drops faster. Or, another thing you could do is if you've been really fishing for a really long time, you can get something called the Phantom Rod. Now, this requires fishing level 21, and I'm working towards that as I'm talking, so it might take a really, really long time. But something that's great about it is, well, I don't think you can see. Let me just change my video settings real quick, and you still probably won't be able to see, but it deals 200 damage, gives an additional 125 strength, plus 50% crit damage, plus 5% sea creature chance, plus 65 fishing speed, plus it has this ability called Phantom Impel, which is essentially terrifying hooked enemies, pushing them away and dealing massive damage, which is really great if you reach fishing level 21. And the amazing thing about this is if you keep farming all that sorrow from the ghosts down here, you will be able to actually afford it in quite a good amount of time because it's super cheap, because a ton of people don't like leveling up fishing. It only costs, and this is great because it deals a lot of high damage, it costs about $900,000, which may seem like a lot, but it's really cheap in scale to all the other weapons, like, say, the Aspect of the Dragons, which it costs about 1,000,000 coins and is about as good, but many people still take the Phantom Rod over it because it can damage ghosts. So, I hope you liked this brief early game guide, and if you'd like me to keep on going on this topic and do that, then make sure to follow, subscribe, comment. I still don't have anything to follow to, but we'll get there eventually. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you've noticed, I actually added a little bit of music in the background, which was a problem because I didn't know where to get that without it being copyright claimed. But anyway, yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day, and goodbye!